Hi, Coyotes. This is Mrs. Soraya from Kincaid Elementary School, and I'd like to share with you our school plan that our team at Kincaid has worked on. Just to let you know, we have a leadership team at Kincaid Elementary, and on that team, we have classroom teachers. We have two classroom teachers. We have two special education teachers. We have a specialist. We have our instructional coach and our school nurse, and I'm on the team. So for the past couple months, we've been trying to work out a plan to mitigate the risk for the spread of COVID-19 when students are invited back into our building. So I'd like to share with you our plan. And I'm going to share my screen. The first part of our plan is our parent drop off and pickup. Not much has changed for our parent drop off and pickup, but I would like to review it because our plan includes those pieces. First of all, if you're bringing your child to school, you can either enter from Raspberry Road or Caravel. The Raspberry Road will get you to curbside drop off. Caravel will only take you to the parking lot. And parents, if you take your child to Caravel and you park in the parking lot, it's not okay to let students off in the parking lot. It's not safe to let them just walk through the parking lot, through cars and to the sidewalk. So all parents that choose Caravel, you must park and walk your child through the crosswalk until they're safe at the sidewalk. Parents that come through the Raspberry entrance, you can either stay on the right-hand side and drop your child off at our drop-off zones, or you can park in our parking lot. And here's a map that shows the two options. Here's the Raspberry entrance. So you have two options from Raspberry. You can stay in the left lane and go park in our parking lot. But if you stay in the right lane, you remain in your vehicle, and there are signs that post the beginning and ending of our parent pickup zone, and that's where you can drop your child off. If you come in from Caravel, you must park in the parking lot. Students may not be dismissed without an escort from a parent or guardian, and park and walk your child to either this crosswalk over here, or we have another one right over here. Students may not escort themselves if you choose the parking lot option. There's no parking along this Caravel entrance along the curb, and there's no parking along this exit right here. As parents come in through the Raspberry entrance, remain right, and you're going to see a sign that says student drop off begins, and then way down at the other end it'll say student drop off ends. We get typically about 10 cars at a time in that space, and it's fairly quick moving. 10 cars pull in, you go up as far forward as you can, please, until that parent pickup end sign. And then students get out of those 10 vehicles, and then another 10 cars can pull up. Students must exit on the right-hand side closest to the curb. So something to think about, parents that have car seats or other things in the back seat, where to place those items, because students are not allowed to get off on the left-hand side where there's traffic coming through. They have to get off on the right-hand side closest to the curb. So the red lane is a fire lane, and we have to keep that lane clear at all times, 24 hours a day. Even if you are dropping off for the Y and it doesn't seem that busy, please park in the parking lot and use our crosswalk to walk over and enter the building. If you are picking something up at the office, you need to still use our parking lot. You may not park during the day in the red zone. That's just for parent pickup and drop off at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. All right, at the end of the day, we have cones out front for grade level teams, and we've tried to really space those at a greater distance this year to promote social distancing. Students will not be able to touch anybody on either side of them if their arms are stretched out, and we're gonna ask them to even check the front. They should not be close enough to touch the person in front of them. Students will remain lined up at the cone facing forward and wear their mask. Parents that pick up must also have a mask on. If you're walking to greet your child or you're parked in the parking lot and you're waiting for them, please wear your mask and social distance at all times. Parents who are picking up their children, If you see a friend, another parent, we're also asking that you remain 6 feet apart from that parent and that you wear your mask. We have lots of children that require our disabled parking spaces. So you are required to have a permit to park here. We have had some problems in the past with parents who have trouble finding a spot. So they think, oh, I'll just be real quick, and they park here. And then our students that actually need these spaces don't have them. So please make sure that you only park in our disabled parking if you have a permit. If it says no parking, towaway zone, please don't park there. And you'll notice we've had signs up for years that say no parking here. But it often does get crowded with people who have a hard time finding a space at the end of the day. But I do want you to know that when we have our dismissal at the end of the day, all students within 10 minutes have left our building. So if at first you're a little frustrated because all the spots are taken, I just ask that you be patient and circle around. At 3 o'clock, when students are dismissed, those parents that have parked in the lot will begin to move their vehicles, and you'll have plenty of space. All right, so Raspberry Road, this arrow, this is a do not go this direction arrow. Throughout the day, parents want to take a shortcut and visitors, and they head up that Raspberry exit, but it's a one-way street. So you may not go up the hill to the Raspberry Road. That's an exit. That's an entrance only. It's not an exit. So we just ask that our parents follow all traffic signs, our one-way signs, our no parking signs, and our 5-mile-per-hour signs. So in the morning, you can start bringing your child to school by 9:10. And outside supervision will be available from 9:10 all the way through 9:35. We ask that everybody try to get there before 9:20 when students are entering the building, so that we don't have a large group of students gathering at the office that are tardy. We're going to actually let our students enter the building through their designated doors up to 9:35. After 9:35, if you are arriving after that time, you'll come in through the office. All right, on this map, you see we have lots of different places for students to be lining up. Over here, the reloads, our 6th grade students will line up at their homeroom. Miss Lesko's class is our only 4th grade class. It's over on the end, over by the greenhouse. Our 5th grade classrooms are outside here. And our 3rd grade classrooms are outside the music hall. The first week that we return, we'll have signs with the teacher out front sharing with you, hey, Miss Daskey's class lines up here, or Mr. Fisk, or Miss Lesko. So look for the signs. Once students get familiar with where they line up in the morning, we will no longer need those signs. Way over here by kindergarten, we have Mrs. Farrow's class and Mrs. Elliott's class. Our 4th grade classrooms had the largest enrollment this year, and so we needed to find a bigger classroom for them. And our kindergarten classrooms have more space. So we moved 2 of our classrooms down here into the kindergarten rooms so that they had that opportunity for social distancing with their desks. Miss Lesko has a lot of students as well. And what we're doing with her classroom is opening up the wall so she has like a double room to spread kids out. Our kindergarten classes line up here in the morning. Our 2nd grade classes and 1st grade classes are in the back. And again, that first week that we return back, once the district says, hey, we can start school, we're going to have signs and you'll be easily able to find your child's lineup door. Okay, I'm going to get out of this presentation and actually escape for a second. The best place to start is at the beginning, not the end. This is the plan that I presented to our families on the 18th at our town hall meeting. First of all, we are really down in enrollment this year, and with COVID-19, some of our families had to make some tough decisions, and many of them have chosen to look at some homeschool options or private school options. So typically we run between 550 to 600 students. Our total enrollment right now is 433. We have 365 enrolled in our Kincaid in school. I know we're not in school, but that version is our Zoom meetings twice a day with language arts in the morning, math in the afternoon, a break in between, assignments posted on campus. 39 of our students are doing the ASD homeschool virtual program, and that's the Calvert Learning, and it's really more of an independent program. They do have a teacher assigned to them, but I know that the parent is the main instructor. And 29 students are enrolled in our intensive needs program. Here's a breakdown by grade level, and you'll see that our kindergarten and first grade classrooms have 2 classrooms each. And then second through sixth grade classrooms, we have 3 classrooms for each of those grade levels, with our biggest enrollment at 4th grade. So we really did look at finding bigger spaces for those classrooms. And that's why we moved Mrs. Farrell and Mrs. Elliott down to the kindergarten classrooms and allowing Mrs. Lesko to have a double classroom. All right, so masks. Masks can be fun. Hopefully, we've been doing this for a while, and I know that a lot of your children have been used to wearing masks to go to the grocery store and out in public already since last spring. So make it fun, find the ones that they like. They will be required to wear a mask throughout the day. It's encouraged to bring more than one. I would say, 2 or 3 in the backpack every day. And make sure they're comfortable, make sure the ones that your child likes. If they happen to come to school and have forgotten a mask, we will provide one. We do ask that children and parents and everybody wear a mask the moment they are on school grounds. Okay, in the morning, we ask that everybody practice good social distancing. We prefer 6 feet. Parents, if you're walking your child to their classroom door, you do have to maintain 6 feet social distancing from other students and other children. Starting at 9:10 is our drop off. Parents are allowed to walk to the designated doors but may not enter the building. Visitors at Kincaid at this time are only those that are required to be in the building to serve ASD business. So if there's a reason for a parent to be in the building, we would have you go through the same procedures that a staff member would go to with the temperature check and a COVID screening. But on a general day, parents can walk their child to the door and keep 6 feet from other children, but you may not enter the classroom. When students come into the classroom, they immediately wash their hands either at the sink with soap and water, or we are placing hand sanitizer stations in every classroom. So we'll start with nice clean hands at the very beginning of the day. We're going to stagger our bus dismissals so that we don't have the large crowds that we typically have at the end of the day. So students will remain in the classroom until their bus is called, and then they'll exit out their exit doors and walk, keeping a 6 feet distance from others to their bus. All of our tutors, our TAs, our specialists, Mrs. Rhea, whoever's available will be out on duty to help support our students, reminding them to wear their mask and keep a social distance. We'll continue to use our cones out front so that you know where to find your child at the end of the day. And we're going to ask our kids to remain, like I said, so far apart so that they can't touch the person in front of them and they may not touch the person on either side. Our staff will be wearing our bright vests so you can find them easily if you need some help locating your child. We carry radios and we're there to help. Parents, please do not enter the building. And again, keep 6 feet apart from others and wear a mask if you're on the school grounds. Our teachers are going to remain in the classroom until all bus students have been dismissed. All right, back to our school map. I've already talked a little bit about this, where our buses are located. This is our parent pickup line. We talked about our entry doors. The entry doors are the same as our exit doors. One thing I haven't talked about is recess. This year, when grade level goes outside for recess, classrooms may not mix. So we've had to create zones on our playground so that we have a space for everybody to play. Zone number 1 is our special needs playground. thanks to our PTA and our community for creating that playground several years ago. So that's going to be designated for our special needs students. Playground equipment has been divided in half. So one classroom would be in zone 2, another class would be in zone 3, and another classroom would be in zone 4, which is our basketball courts. The other thing we've changed about recess this year is every classroom will have a bag of materials that will include jump ropes and balls and playground equipment that they can play with. They're not going to be sharing that equipment with other classrooms. So again, we're really trying to mitigate the contact a child has within the school day, and to the best that we can, keep them only mixing with the kids in their own classroom. Within the school, students will walk single file. They'll keep their hands to their side, arms linked from the person in front of them. And I'm going to show you in a minute the signs that are posted on the floor. Our water fountains are closed. We're asking students to bring their own personal water bottles. And if they forgot their bottle, the teachers will have cups. Our teachers will be working with our students once they're back in the building and working on those expectations and those procedures for walking around the building. All right, so here you see a few things. We have reminders on the walls about wearing masks, frequently washing hands, keeping that social distance. We have signs on the floors. Our fountains have been covered up so students can't accidentally forget and use the fountain. Our water filling stations are still available. Classroom sinks are still available. The fountain's been closed off, but the faucet is available to refill bottles. Our staff check in every day and we do a COVID screener. We check our temperature, and we can either do that at the station right at the front door, or we use an app before we enter the building on our phone, and we check our temperature and record, go through those COVID questions. And I did have a sample of our classrooms, which I'm going to, I think on the next slide, actually, let me go back. I'll be giving more details about classrooms in just a minute. Okay, lunch. In the past, we would have up to about 150 kids in our NPR during a lunch, up to six classrooms in the NPR. This year, we're limiting that to 2 classrooms. We've divided it in half. One half of the NPR will be one class. The other half will be the second class. We're also using our gym, and the same thing in the gym. The gym is actually a slightly bigger space than the NPR, and we'll have one class on one side and one class on the other. Students enter these spaces wearing their mask, and then they can take their mask off while eating. Students will only sit on one side of the table so that they won't have somebody facing them. They'll sit on one side of the table, and the next group with students will be on the next side. These tables pushed together are 12 feet, and we'll have one student on the end, one in the middle, and one on the other end. And the gym, same way, except they're facing the other direction. Students will not mix with other classes. They only take their mask off while they're actively eating or drinking, and then they put their mask back on. We are going to segregate our students again, one student on each end and one in the middle. We're using not only our cafeteria tables, we also purchased several more folding tables to put up for overflow. All right, in classrooms, you're going to see some pictures in a minute. We've minimized our furniture. We've taken out tables and those other furniture items to allow for maximum space of our students. Students face the same direction. A teacher creates her own personal space. They may have a classroom library only if students wash their hands before browsing, and then once they have a book and they return it to the teacher plans to keep that book aside for 3 days before reshelving. All classroom materials cannot be shared. So your teacher will be in contact with you and your family and explain what kind of items to come with: crayons, pencils, scissors, glue. Those materials cannot be shared from one student to the other. So there's going to be a management piece with that, and your teacher will make sure you know what to bring. Great, here's one sample of one of our classrooms. I think Mrs. Sylvester has 16 students in her classroom. She's taken out the tables and extra furniture and spread her kids out so that they have maximum space between them, all facing one direction. Here's a couple other examples of what you might see. Although most of our classrooms have desks, We still have 2 classrooms with tables, so we were putting dividers in between, 2 students per table with a divider between. And one of our classrooms has gotten really creative with flexible seating. There's a yoga mat, a chair, a lap desk, and these children are spaced 6 feet apart. Most of our activities, as you have noticed, are going to be through Zoom this year. I'm really sorry. We like to engage with one another, and it doesn't feel quite the same through a video. But our PTA meetings, our school events, our staff meetings are all going to be through Zoom. The only meeting that may not, they have the option of face to face is grade level team meetings. And that's only if they are more, 6 feet or more apart and wear their mask the whole time. I'll give you an example of that. Our 5th grade team, Mrs. Randazzo, Miss Hop, and Mrs. Arnold. There are 3 teachers. There are occasions where they'll meet together in a room, but they have plenty of space in one room to maximize their distance so that they can have a grade level team meeting and plan together. And that's the same with our other grade level teams. They may choose to meet through Zoom, but they have the option for face to face. All right. The big important thing is, we've always encouraged students to come to school and attendance was important, but we know that this virus spreads very easily. So we're really telling our families, do not come to school. Do not send a student to school if they have any of the COVID-19 symptoms. And those symptoms are, there's a lot of them. So, you can have a headache, sniffles, runny nose, fever, aches and pain, those things that you may in other years say, well, it's just a cold. They'll be okay. This year, we're asking that you please keep your child at home if they have any of those symptoms. Nurse Rachel has worked super hard, and I'm going to share with you her website. You can find her website right at the Kincaid website from the main school district page. She has been listening to our parents who have had phone calls or emails to her, and she's answered several of those questions that you can find right here on her website. So, for example, you might have a child who has asthma or other health concerns that might mimic the same symptoms as COVID-19. What should you do? So she'll go through all the procedures. What happens if I send my kid to school and they were fine, but they develop these symptoms? How will the school respond? What are the symptoms of COVID-19? So there's a number of questions that she's gone through, and you're welcome to look at that information. I also wanted to share with you, go back. All right, so in the Anchorage School District, in fact, maybe I'll just type it. On their main page, if you enter the school district's main website, if you go to the Back in School button at the very top, and school safety plans, and we're at elementary, so we're going to click on elementary school safety plans. You can read through the school safety plan that Kincaid has put together. These are in alphabetical order. Again, this plan was written and composed with teachers in our building, staff in our building, our school nurse, and myself on the team. We've shared it with our school teams, and we're sharing it now with our families. You can look at other schools' plans and see how they are similar or different from Kincaid. And let me go ahead and stop sharing. The main thing is, if you look at all this material, you've watched this video today, you still have questions or concerns, please reach out to me. The school number is 245-5530. You can email me at Zorea, ZOREA _Wendy at asdk12.org, and ask your questions. Talk to me, talk to your teachers. We're here to help you understand how we're preparing for the potential that students will be back in the building. It's been a really rough start. We've been planning for students to come back in since August. We thought we were getting them in October. We thought they were coming in November. And unfortunately, those COVID numbers local numbers just kept going up and up. And so we've been postponed, and that's okay. We were able to really, I think, get ready for the opportunity to see students face to face. And we do hope that after the new year comes, that we'll see them in the building. Please reach out, and we're here to answer your questions. All right, Coyotes, you have a great afternoon. Bye bye.